everybody. I'm Seth Meyers. This is Late Night. We hope you're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin this week in Alaska to discuss an end to the Ukrainian war. Hey, man, you forgetting somebody? This is like going to marriage counseling without your wife. Hey, the therapist said I was right about the dishwasher. That's right. President Trump announced he will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. If you're wondering why Alaska, it's the only way he'd wear a shirt. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump teased today's White House press conference about his plans to fight crime in Washington, D.C., and said, quote, "There will be no more Mr. Nice Guy." Wait a minute, there was a nice guy? Bad news, that kind-hearted, jovial man you knew is gone. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. In another post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump announced that he would crack down on homelessness in Washington, D.C. He said the city currently has, quote, tense, squalor, filth, and crime. Oh, not tense. Is he also going to send the National Guard in to deal with the Boy Scout Jamboree? President Trump hosted a peace summit on Friday at the White House with the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Oh my God, he wants a Nobel Peace Prize so bad, he's just going through countries alphabetically. Let's see Armenia and Azerbaijan. Let's get them in here pronto. Let's have Bosnia and Bolivia on deck. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller's wife, a former Doge aide, Katie Miller, announced last week that she is launching a new podcast for conservative women and said, quote, "For years, I've seen that there isn't a place for conservative women to gather online." Well, then, she's never checked out Nextdoor. Papa John's has announced plans to roll out a new pizza delivery tracking service for all locations, because when a Papa John's pizza is coming to your house, you want plenty of warning. AOL has announced that next month it will discontinue its dial-up internet service, and if you just said, "Aw," it's time to schedule your colonoscopy. Astronomers have discovered the oldest and most distant black hole, and it's the one that occurs right after you say, "I love you, Dad," and he says, "Hold on, here's your mother." And finally, authorities in California are looking for thieves who allegedly stole more than $7,000 worth of Labubus, which experts say will someday be worth as much as $30. And that was a monologue. I'm not bullish on Labubus. I'm not baboosh. Got a great show for you tonight. He's an Emmy-nominated actor, director, writer, and producer whose Apple TV Plus show, The Studio, racked up 23 Emmy nominations. He's also the executive producer and star of the Apple TV Plus series Platonic, streaming now. Our friend Seth Rogen is back on the show. And I'm a big fan of hers. She's an Emmy-nominated NFL analyst and podcast host you know from her work on ESPN's NFL Live. Her podcast, The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, is available on all platforms. Mina Kimes will be here. But before we get to all that, Donald Trump gave an unhinged press conference announcing his decision to send the National Guard to Washington, D.C., despite the fact that crime there is down. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You guys, one thing is obvious about Trump. Numbers are not his strong suit, like when he introduced his global tariffs and reeled off a list of seemingly random figures that made no sense.
European Union, we're going to charge them 20%. Vietnam, they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, 64%. We're going to charge them 32%. Japan, 46%. We're charging them 24%. India, 52%. Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49%. United Kingdom, 10%. And we'll go 10%. South Africa, 60%, 30%. Brazil, 10%, 10%, Bangladesh, 74%, Pakistan, 58%, Sri Lanka, 88%.
He sounds like an auctioneer with a concussion. I see Japan, 46, India, 52, Switzerland, 61. My vision is blurry. I feel sold to the combined country of Indonesia, Odia, for 97. Or when he said he would bring down drug prices by percentages that were literally mathematically impossible.
I want to get the drug prices down by 1,000%, 1,200%. We'll have drug prices coming down by 500, 600, 800, even 1,200%. We've cut drug prices by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%, by 1,200, 1,300, and even 1,400%. We're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%.
The math is obviously insane, but I am so hung up on him not going in numerical order as he lists the numbers. 1,600, 500, at least I'm following. But then when he throws out 1,500 at the end, my head spins to the point where I think I need medication, which, if I'm understanding him correctly, I should be able to get for a song. This is the asymmetry of American politics. Bernie Sanders calls for single-payer health care, and everyone acts like it's a pipe dream. Meanwhile, Trump is essentially saying, you think Chantix is expensive? What have I told you? You get 7 large every time you take one. And somehow when he says it, everyone just nods along. When he says something that insane, we should literally hear a sitcom laugh track.
We're going to get him down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%.
Donald! But Trump has no shame, so he just keeps rolling with his made-up numbers. Like last week when he held up a chart in the White House that he claimed proved his jobs numbers were actually awesome. But I'm not sure anyone, including Trump, knew what was on that chart.
This one chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great. But this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers. Okay?
Okay? Yeah, okay. I mean, it's hard to argue with numbers, especially all new ones. So we're just gonna move on and wait a second, I'm sorry, what the are you talking about? No one knows what that chart is or what it says, and when I say no one, I'm including you, since you couldn't even muster a single word to explain it. This reminds me of 5th grade when we had to make a diorama of the solar system, and my mom did it for me, and yet, for some reason, the teacher kept grilling me about it. She was all like, what can you tell us about the planets? And I said, well, the diorama says it better than anything. If you look at it, it's pretty amazing. These are all new planets. Okay? Now, Trump is ordering what he's calling a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. based on numbers that, once again, make no sense. And you don't have to take it from me. CNN fact-checked him live as he was talking.
The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled.
We've had presidents who've lied before, but we've never had a president who is this easy to fact check. But who are you going to believe? The stat nerds at CNN or the guy who says we can lower drug prices by 1,500%? Trump should be fact checked like this every time he talks about numbers. Next time he talks about drug prices, it should look like this.
We've cut drug prices by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%.
This press conference was, as with all things Trump, entirely for show. And the way you know that is that the very first words he uttered were not about crime, but about his dream to build a new ballroom in the White House.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom.
I don't know, man. Based on what I just heard about Washington, D.C., it's the last place I'd build a fancy ballroom. I just heard that place is, like, worse than Bogota. That's how you know Trump's bull. We're going to build a beautiful ballroom, gold inlays, crystal chandeliers, Corinthian columns. Moving on, right outside these doors is a crimescape the likes of which we've never seen. So needless to say, hush, hush on the gold inlays. Also, check out this from a few minutes later.
I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is... okay.
Is this his new catchphrase now? He's just going to hold up a chart and say, okay? He's like a lazy magician who doesn't make you take a card. He just holds one up and acts like that's what it was gonna be. You kids like magic? All right, watch this. Jack of diamonds. Okay. You can see how detached from reality this press conference was and the way Trump talked about D.C. like it was a dystopian hellhole out of a steampunk novel.
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people, caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well.
So clearly what happened, he fell asleep watching Fox News, rolled over on the remote, accidentally changed the channel to HBO, woke up, saw Mad Max Fury Road, thought it was still the news. There are roving mobs of wild youth. They travel on ATVs in the desert, and they answer to their gang leader. His name is Immortan Joe. He controls all the water. We thought the future was AI or Bitcoin, but it's water. If you listen to Immortan Joe, it's water. I remember a Duff warrior came up to me, big Duff warrior, strong Duff warrior. Tears pouring from under his mask down onto his red pajamas and his big fire-shooting guitar, and he said to me, he said... And I said, it's so true, Duff warrior. But there was one moment in particular that really underscored to me just how degraded Trump's brain is. I'm gonna play it because I honestly need help understanding it. If you know what he's trying to say here, please let me know.
You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, you know, the metal things that are always... Somebody had a great lobbyist because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken and bad.
Hey, man, I know prices are down by 1,500%, but I think you need to lay off the...
drugs.
In fact, I'm going to read that quote again because I genuinely want to understand what this man is trying to say. Here's what he said word for word. You shouldn't have medians falling down in the roadway. Median, you know, the metal things that are always... Somebody had a great lobbyist because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little right. They're always broken and bad. I will say it's ironic that the only thing he seems to like less than comedians are regular medians. Also, is the median lobby something I have to worry about now? Big median is influencing our government and it stops it. The other day I tried to kiss Melania and I couldn't because there was a median between us. There was only one other part of this press conference that I think would explain what was going on here, and it was this.
There's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but you know somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it.
Are you guys looking at it or smoking it like 5 times a day? Is that why Kash Patel always looks like this? The FBI director, it looks like he just took the biggest bong hit of his life. That might also explain why Trump doesn't even seem to know where he is or where he's going on a daily basis.
You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday.
No, you're not. The White House said you're going to Alaska unless, did you already give away Alaska? Is that what you meant when you said this?
There'll be some land swapping going on.
Can't wait to see the news report from that meeting. The U.S. has struck an agreement with Russia in which Russia will give back the land it stole from Ukraine, and the U.S. in return will give Russia several states, including Alaska, Rhode Island, and New Jersey, along with several countries, including
Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia.
Whoa, Cambodia. Ultimately, I think most of the Trump press conference can be summed up this way.
Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But in a way, it's embarrassing for all of us. In fact, I have a chart of how embarrassing it is. And just so everybody can read it, I'm going to move farther away. Okay. Trump obviously does not care about crime or violence, given that he pardoned January 6 rioters and even employs one who urged fellow rioters to kill police officers. All Trump cares about is clinging to power and appeasing his MAGA base. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a
median.
This has been a closer look.